Bonjour, bonjour. Can everyone hear me? Hello, hello. Can you guys hear the music? Very good. Well, you all know the drill. Take a seat, relax, let people filter in for a little bit. I've been making some really yummy breakfast burritos today. Hey, welcome to chat, Taurus of Hades. Or Tartarus of Hades. Alright, we got all the good elements. Now, what I've been doing recently is I make like a fucking huge amount of Spanish rice, and then before I make my breakfast burritos, I fucking stir fry that with chorizo and some eggs. Then I use that as the burrito filling. A little bit of cheese, a little bit of pickled onions, a little bit of white onions, some cilantro. Big pile of lemon, because I be sweating out those electrolytes. It is good. The first time someone said my name wrong from misreading it rather than just not having heard of Tartarus. That does make a little bit of sense, though. I'm just dyslexic. I have trouble reading printed text. Which is interesting given that I'm, like, a professional researcher. Hi, Sign. And, May, to answer your question, we are going to be getting a little bit Middle Platonic today. Of many things. How's everyone's morning been? I had a workout today. I did full body, because I've started, instead of doing, like, arms one day and then legs the other, I've started basically showing up earlier and doing full body, and then every other day I do cardio. Did an economy final. That sucks. 2 sausage and gravy and some pea. Very good, very English. The red-headed stepchildren of Platonism. That's a bad comparison. It's more like the forgotten middle child of Platonism. I think that's a more apt comparison, yeah. Yes, Tara, you were mentioning many acronyms at your new job. There was no MASH left, just the bangers. I mean, why even live if all you have is MASH but no bangers? Or wait, no, just bangers but no MASH. Honestly embarrassing for you. Merry Christmas 45. Paid some local kids to dig my car out of the snow yesterday, and it snowed so hard last night they didn't... It's like they didn't even do anything. Well, you're generating income for the local child economy. What silly things are on the docket? We're going to be talking about Aristotle today, because I finally figured out the fucking Plato section. After, like, I literally made, like, last month, I literally made a negative progress on the Plato section. I spent a month reading and not fucking adding anything to the manuscript, and then the more I learned about, like, the specific things that I wanted about Plato, the less confident I was in the things that I already said. So I ended up deleting words and, like, basically rewriting the entire section. It's way better now. It actually has a thesis, it has a point, I structure an argument and everything. I'm now much more proud of the Plato section, but we're moving on to Aristotle. And Aristotle's interesting. We'll talk about it. From your own research, it's good when that happens, but it also sucks when that happens. It is nice when I, like, post on Tumblr about being frustrated at my lack of progress, and then, like, actual researchers, like, real researchers are like, I have the same thing at my university job. That does make me feel better. It does. It's nice to know that I'm not just, like, uniquely broken as a person. This is just what research is like. Ugh. Where is... I need, like, a box to put this on. Will Aristotle be easier or harder to get since the church didn't crack down on him as much as Plato? That is a complicated question to answer because the more you dig into like Aristotle's reputation as the like orthodox philosopher, the more you realize that's kind of bullshit. Like that kind of never happened. Or it's not that it never happened. There's just a lot of qualifiers there because Aristotle's afterlife as a thinker went through quite a fucking journey. I'm curious as to your thoughts on how much Plato and Aristotle synergize or pulled in opposite directions. It's like... Okay, if you actually take their work, like, at face value... Like, if you asked me, do Plato and Aristotle agree? The answer is basically no. They are diametrically opposed in a lot of ways, and Aristotle is, like, on paper as saying that. Like, he just straight up says somewhere that, like, Plato never figured out the theory of forms. Like, it never worked for him. He never figured out how to make it work. Like, that was Aristotle's opinion. But the thing about Aristotle is that, yeah, it's like the theory of forms and like idealist philosophy in general is just like very useful, especially when you're talking about things that aren't like taxonomies of shellfish. So they kind of like, when you view them together, they kind of they kind of beg synergy, right? They're begging to be synergized with each other. Hey, thank you for the subscription. Before we jump in, this is one of my major income sources, so absolutely no pressure, but if you want to throw me some money, I love making shit like this for you. I love that ancient Greek philosophers had the same rivalries and pettiness as modern scientists. Oh yeah, it never stops. All right, we're back in Warframe today. Been a while. I have a new keyboard. I'm curious how this new keyboard will play. Before we jump in, can you hear my keyboard clacking when I Warframe jump? Warframe. A little? No. Very faintly. Is it annoying? If it's annoying, I can futz with my audio levels, but kind of like it. It's fine. Can you explain to my orc ass what exactly forms stuff is useful for? I can probably guess at it, but I'd like to hear more as an educated opinion. Well, it's like, literally, just think of it as like ideas. Like, not chairs, but like the idea of a chair. That's kind of what Plato means there. That's like the orc explanation version of what his forms are. Like, that is the, Oh, hang on. I gotta... Let me turn on streamer mode for you. Enable streamer mode. Okay, hello. So tech runs on forms? Well, everything runs on forms. Like, yeah, it's like the idea that properties can exist outside objects. Yeah, like, just the idea of heat rather than, like, the thing that you measure. It's very philosophically useful. All right, what should we do? What should we do here? Is there anything that we're working towards? Warframe heads, are there any like events going on right now?
I make exceptions for the exceptional.
Hi, Nora.
Let's check what's next.
The color red versus a red apple. Yeah, like red when it's not being applied to something. It's going to be a new Nightwave soon. There's an anniversary event for Dex items. That's fine. I think we should probably just crack relics. That sounds... Conjunction survival. Do we want to do this on Lua? Let's see. Void Flood, rescue, exterminate. Nah, let's do Steel Path. Let's just do conjunction survival, why not? Is there a difference between qualities and forms? Is quality an instance of a form? That is a great question, and that is the exact sort of thing that Aristotle likes to talk about. He loves classifying things. He loves big, long lists of the differences between things. He has a famous list of, like, 10 categories that, like, it's very difficult to come up with something that does not fit into one of these 10 categories. I don't know what they are, but, like, okay. It's about time that we jump in here. So, the popular reputation of Plato and Aristotle is that, like, Plato is the idealist. He's the one obsessed with, like, forms and God and, like, transcendental ideas or transcendent ideas, you know. At the famous painting of him and Aristotle where they're, like, standing next to each other, and Plato's got his finger pointed up towards the sky, and Aristotle has his hand out, like, towards material reality. Like, that is broadly the reputation of Aristotle, that it's like Plato is the idealist, and Aristotle is the materialist, the empiricist. He is concerned with, like, what is happening here. He's concerned with, like, cataloging the qualities of the world and sorting them into useful frameworks. His big philosophical claim to fame is that he basically invented formal logic, right? Like, there was a fucking... I literally wrote this down in my notes somewhere, but I can't find it. But it's like the idea of, like, testing the truth of propositions, right? The idea that, like, an argument can be well-formed. Yeah, they were actually just pointing at birds out of frame. And this is, broadly speaking, like, okay, if you go to, like, a normal philosophy class, that is basically what you're going to learn about Plato and Aristotle, and that will get you 90, like, that is true. Like, that is how they affected philosophy. That is, like, that is what they mean to modern philosophy. But, okay, Aristotle's relevance to occult history is wildly different from this. Like, the reason I titled this video, this stream, A Tale of Four Aristotles, is because of this. So, the first Aristotle that we want to talk about is the actual historical Aristotle. This is, like, the guy that exists. He was the student of Plato and the tutor of Alexander the Great. You know, the real guy that existed. I learned that in my college public speaking course. Yeah, it's just like argumentation, very Aristotelian. But that is not the Aristotle that esoteric history cares about. See, this brings us to our first Aristotle, who I'm going to call the Middle Platonist Aristotle. This guy, this pseudo-Aristotle, is full on a, like, magician. He's a wizard. This is the... So basically, Aristotle dies, and then, like, a couple hundred years passed, and then around the first century, you have Middle Platonist guys, right? Like, You didn't see that title? It's just Philosophy Friday. It might be the description. You get the Middle Platonist guys, right? Like, Plotinus hasn't showed up yet, so there isn't quite like the late Platonists yet. Like, they haven't completely synthesized Plato and Aristotle together, but you have like the people that this group of people that consider themselves like the heirs to the legacy of Plato, and all of Plato's philosophical ideas, and they are very concerned with, you know, squeezing Aristotle's legacy into this intellectual tradition. And this is difficult for them because Aristotle did not agree with Plato in a lot of places. Like we were talking about earlier, there are several places where he just straight up says, like, Plato is fucking wrong, he's an idiot, he's stupid, and I don't agree with him. I don't agree with fundamental concepts of his thought, and he so sucks, goodbye. Now, the way that the Middle Platonists squeeze Aristotle into their belief system is that turns out, and I learned this recently, that Aristotle is actually like this Middle Platonist guy, this first century Middle Platonist, Plutarch the biographer of Alexandria, is the first place that we see the term esoteric in Western history. This is where we get the term. So, okay. He says that basically Aristotle had two intellectual traditions. He had an exoterikos, which is his published writings that were meant for general consumption, right? The things that he would publish so that other people could read them. And then he had the esoterikos, or the esoterikoi, which are the writings that he published specifically for his students, right? These are like lecture notes, summaries of lectures and shit like that. Things that won't make much sense unless... Wait, Plutarch of Alexandria is the late Platonist, do you believe? Fuck! We literally had this conversation the other day, and I kept confusing there's like 4 different Plutarchs. Forgive me. Death Cube. So, okay. What was I talking about? Take a sip of water. Plutarch of Cordia is the biographer? Yes. Let's do... I don't know, let's do this one. Fucking who cares? Yummy coffee. Okay. So this fucking he had 2 sets of writings. He had the exoterikoi, which were published for the general audience, and then esoterikoi, which were for his students, right? Basically, lecture notes and shit that won't make sense unless you have already been schooled in Aristotle's philosophy, right? Pretty normal, right? Like a pretty normal type of thing that philosophers would publish. I'm sure that Plato also had lecture notes that he gave to his students. I'm sure that was a pretty normal thing for Greek philosophers at the time. A far cry from the sort of like encoded magician art manuals of esoteric texts these days. And the way that the Middle Platonists were like, actually Aristotle secretly agrees with us, is they gesture to this esoterikoi. They gesture to this esoteric corpus saying, well, if you, for people that are schooled in the proper knowledge, they basically prove that Aristotle actually agreed with us the whole time. Fuck, it's Cheironia, the Boeotian city. It's going to be the death of you. Okay, yeah, so one of the many confusing Plutarchs that you have to keep track of if you want to study this period. Yeah, he was basically... So, this Plutarch was basically saying, like, well, I'm privy to his esoteric teachings, therefore I know things that are not that general audiences do not know. Very, very good way to, like, this is maybe one of the first instances of, like, an appeal to an esoteric reading technique being used to synthesize knowledge. Like, this is one of the first concrete examples of this happening. And so this version of Aristotle, this Middle Platonist Aristotle that we get, comes from one of his biographies. This Plutarch was famous for writing biographies of famous people. And he supposedly had a biography of Aristotle, but it's lost, right? But if you recall, Aristotle was the tutor to Alexander the Great, and we do have Plutarch's biography of Alexander, and we get to see his depiction of Aristotle in this book. And I was showing this to May the other day. Holy shit. It is not subtle about him being a magician. It is not subtle in any way, shape, or form. What the fuck is happening? It is not subtle in any fucking way, shape, or form. It's like this Aristotle speaks in riddles. He is, like... I think I'm actually going to make this argument in my book. I think this text is the first recorded instance of a secret third thing. Because there's a bit where Alexander goes up to Aristotle and he goes like, "Master, I'm actually kind of freaking pissed at you. You published one of the secret teachings." And Aristotle says like, my student Aristotle, my student Aristotle, you are concerned with honors. You don't care. It's like you're not concerned enough about the inner workings of our teachings, because this version of Alexander is like mad that Aristotle published this secret knowledge because it's not cool anymore, right? He's like, well, if everyone knows it, it's not secret knowledge anymore. It's not special, and we don't have control over the this secret knowledge anymore. And Aristotle goes like, but I have published it, and I have not published it at the same time. Because the general public will see this, they'll see this thing that's been published, and they won't know that it's secret knowledge, right? They won't understand because they haven't been schooled yet. They lack the key to understand what it truly means within our corpus. And I do think this is the first concrete example of a secret third thing in all of Western esotericism. I hope they're proud that a bunch of transgender internet dwellers are deciphering their secret knowledge. I think they would be. I think they would be. So this version of Aristotle as like straight up a fucking wizard is what carried forward. Like, this is the version of Aristotle that a lot of people got. Like, this is the version of Aristotle that so many people like understood. And secret third thing as in not esoteric, not exoteric. Secret third thing as in like secret third thing as in like someone speaking in riddles for esoteric purposes. Did I equip it? Yes, I did. And here's the thing. This is the version of Aristotle that would carry forward into the Roman period, and Aristotle would probably be a little bit horrified by that. Like, this wizard version of him that's a lot more Socrates flavored is absolutely not how he comported himself. Esoteric in plain sight. Yes, the self-hiding secret, as it were. And okay. I'm sure some of the more learned listeners are asking, well, CT, why is it Middle Platonist Aristotle and not Late Platonist Aristotle? Because, like, by the time you hit the Late Platonists, he's been, like, fully syncretized with Plato. Like, there's no doubt in the Late Platonist mind that he is, that he was syncretized with, like, that there was no doubt in the Late Platonist mind that he agreed with Aristotle, right? That transformation has fully taken place. And this is true. This is true. But this brings us to our second Aristotle, right? And I'm going to call this is not a perfect term, but I'm going to call our second Aristotle the Averroist Aristotle. Because, okay, in 10th century Baghdad, the Muslim world was having themselves a translation movement, and they were getting all these different texts over from the West, and they were translating themselves up a storm. And they fucking loved Aristotle. They loved Aristotle to the point, like, because, okay, Aristotle agrees with monotheistic philosophy a lot. Like, he's very easy to syncretize with monotheism. So they were getting a version of Aristotle that came through the Neoplatonists that was, like, already syncretized with Plato, and was coming through the, like, kind of weird half-Christian, half-Neoplatonist era of the people that were already syncretizing him with monotheistic theology. And they were also getting pseudo-Aristotelian texts where he was straight up a wizard. Like, a version of Aristotle that was, like, talking about occult physiognomy and straight-up alchemy and the mystical properties of plants and stones. Like, so this is the version of Aristotle that the Muslim world got. And they were like, wow, this dude's got everything. It's like, this dude's, like, he's thought everything. And so this Averroist version, the reason I'm calling it Averroist is that one of the big Muslim or Islamicate thinkers on Aristotle was I forget his Arabic name, but he's commonly Latinized as Averroes. So, and that's what a lot of Western medieval thinkers got. So they were like, and any like medieval Christian monk that was super into, like, quote unquote Aristotelianism, they oftentimes called it Averroism because it came through this guy. And so a lot of this Averroist version of Aristotle goes back to a text that was, like, okay, it was mentioned in the Encyclopedia of the Brethren of Purity in, like, the 10th century, but the book itself was probably written around the 7th century-ish. And it's called the Liber de Pomo, right? The Book of the Apple. And this is a completely fabricated text that Aristotle definitely did not write. And it's basically a text in which Aristotle on his deathbed, like, converts to Plato. No. It's like Plato on his deathbed, like, converts to Aristotelianism. It's like Plato is like, you are right, my student. Fuck. Actually, I might be getting that backwards. But it's basically like one of the two philosophers, like, basically on their deathbed is like, I admit to being syncretic with the other one. I admit to being an Aristotelian, and then he dies. It's literally that, like, I heard that Donald Trump converted to Islam on his deathbed, and he was heard reciting the Shanda, like that. It's literally that type of thing. So, yeah, it is fun. It's a fun one. This is the version of Aristotle that the Averroists got. It was one that had no conflicts with monotheistic theology whatsoever. This made Aristotle extremely popular in the medieval Arabic world. So much so that a lot of Arabic philosophers just call him the philosopher, and everyone just knew you were talking about Aristotle. Like, that is how influential this kind of... And remember, this version of Aristotle was, like, absolutely not what Aristotle himself was writing. This is a version of Aristotle that has, like, natural magic, like Roman natural magic in him. So that's our second Aristotle. And our third Aristotle is the Aristotle, the straight-up natural magician. This is kind of what you get when the Averroist texts filter back into Europe, into the Southern Renaissance. And so, and then this version of Aristotle starts getting syncretized with, like, you know, it's like you start attributing books of natural magic to him. You start attributing Hermetic texts to him. There are late medieval, early Renaissance, like, texts attributed to Aristotle that are just, like, straight up Hermetic texts. Like, talk about Hermes Trismegistus and shit, and how, like, Hermes is actually the secret root of the Platonic tradition, which, classic wizard shit, as I'm sure we're all aware of. And this Aristotle... it makes sense because a lot of Aristotle's actual work is just, like, long lists of qualities of objects. Like, the boy loved, like, taxonomies of shellfish and things. He loved to do just, like, long lists of objects and their properties, which, like, if you're trying to write a magical manual of the lists of properties of magical stones and the wisdom of herbs... it makes sense that you would attribute... Like, Aristotle's a good author to attribute that to because he already kind of writes like that. It makes sense. So, these are the four versions of Aristotle that we actually deal with in Western esoteric history. And so, whenever a philosopher, like, cites Aristotle or mentions Aristotle, it is very important that you have these four masks of pseudo-Aristotle in mind. Because if you just sit down and be like, okay, I will, to get a better idea of what these writers are talking about, I will just read the Aristotelian corpus. Easy enough. You will not get the full picture. You will not understand what these, like, Islamic polymaths were talking about. You will be very confused when their version of Aristotle starts talking about, like, you know, transcendent knowledge and, like, secret, esoteric, revelatory knowledge. Like, Aristotle did not believe in, like, special knowledge. Like, the idea of special, secret knowledge that you needed special esoteric keys to learn is... That would be ridiculous to Aristotle. It's like, you either know it or you don't. And the idea of, like, Plato's weird, like, true revelatory knowledge where you get a peek behind the noetic curtain and you're allowed to see raw truth, Aristotle would have fucking hated that. But there are medieval Islamic texts where they talk about Aristotle in those terms, which would be very confusing to a lot of people. This is another reason why, like, so much of Western occult history is just called Neoplatonic. Because, like, yeah, that's... whenever you have, like, Plato saying Aristotle things or Aristotle saying Plato things, it's probably because of the Neoplatonists or the Middle Platonists. Any questions? That is the gist of what I wanted to talk about. It was a little slam dash. Give me questions. Whee! That was a lot? Yeah, it was a lot. And I was speaking relatively quickly. There will be a test, and I will hurt you. Well, if I just can't read Aristotle, what am I supposed to read? Well, read Aristotle, but, like, other stuff, too. Also, like, nobody really reads all of Aristotle. You just kind of read his treatises on logic and, like, on the spirit or something. Hermeticism is fucking hard. No wonder everyone's into Wicca. Well, you... Foolish that you are, you think Wicca is free from Hermeticism. Foolish of you. It's all based on Hermeticism. It all goes back to Neoplatonism and Hermeticism. My Hermes staff question stands, LOL. Are the Hermetic texts the reason that medical field uses the Hermes staff instead of the Asclepius? I don't think so. Is it not an Asclepius? Fuck, marry, kill, Aristotle, Aristotle, Aristotle. There's 4, so we'd have to leave one out. So we're doing fuck, marry, kill, ignore. Let's see. Let's see. Fuck Hermetic Aristotle, marry Averroist Aristotle, kill Middle Platonist Aristotle, and then ignore OG Aristotle. I know, but it feels like more surface level. I mean, that is one of my major like criticisms of Wicca, is that it can be a little surface level, but that's also like the Wiccans are doing shit about that. Like they've in the time since Gerald Gardner has defined Wicca, they have improved it somewhat, but it's also like it's Wicca. There's no like centralized authority on Wicca. So it's kind of just like sometimes it's super dope and interesting, and sometimes it's just kind of whatever. But that's just my personal take. Hermes staff has the wings, but Asclepius doesn't. Wait till you hear about the sabbatic current syncretizes with the Platonic and Aristotelian perspective. Yeah, the sabbatic current is kind of like that's kind of where all the hip and happening stuff is going on. Yeah, no, don't type that out, May. It'll take a long time. It's why I'm trying to read on Hermeticism now, lol. The Hermetic corpus is pretty easy to approach. Like, there's a lot of good commentaries that you can get. What's funnier, pronouncing Aristotle like Chipotle or the other way? Aristotle. You can also say it Aristotle. Or Aristotle. Aristotle. This also, like, doing, like, focusing on this weird reception history of Aristotle also helped make the Neoplatonic corpus make a lot more sense to me. Because, like, once you understand that, like, oh, this is the version of Aristotle that the Enneads were, like, working from, it's like, oh, this makes so much more sense now. It's like, your version of Aristotle isn't, like, an empiricist, he's a wizard. He's like an empiricist wizard. Aristotle, dude. Aristotle. I like that. That's pretty good. He's kind of the proto-mystical alchemist. You can, it's like, yeah, you can kind of see, like, he was the tutor to Alexander the Great, so you can totally see, like, how he became the blueprint for the court magician wizard. Like, he's got a little bit of that, like, Socrates speaking in riddle energy. But he's still like, I am the wise, like, the brains behind Alexander's twinkish brawn. Marx was also an empiricist wizard. Very easy thing to say, and very difficult thing to argue in a way that's not annoying. The Thinker. I'd also need to revisit the Neoplatonism section soon. My editor's main comment on the Neoplatonism section is that I'm having too much fun. I'm speaking, like, too casually. I'm having so much fun talking about Plotinus that I, like, don't really make arguments. I just, like, my natural speaking voice comes through too much. Who is Alexander's boyfriend? Jeopardy ding. Hephaestion? Yeah, I'm having too much fun. I'm too joy-pilled. But it's like, I have a finished draft of the book now. I have to, like, lock in. I can't just, like, puke words onto the page and have them be, like, have that contribute to my word count anymore. I have to, like make fucking arguments and structure them well. God forbid an author enjoys writing their book. He's right, though. Like, he's literally right. Like, it comes off as too, like, let me learn you a thing, fellow Tumblrinos. Like, it has a little bit too much of that tone, which is, like, it's good. It's good to notice when you're doing that, because I think if you don't, like, intentionally push against those if you don't intentionally push against that concept, like that urge, you do come off as kind of twee and annoying. You have to edit your Tumblr accent out. Yeah, kind of. Although at this point, the Tumblr accent is just kind of how I talk. Like, the Tumblr accent is based on me, not the other way around. Tomb of Hephaestion McDonough is very cool. Macedonii. The most Tumblr shit you heard all day. It's true. I mean, tell me it's not true. I have a degree of influence over how people write on Tumblr. Small as it may be. Twee and annoying, the Tumblr story. Yeah, exactly. I don't know. It's one of the most rewarding things about my job is trying to walk that line between speaking casually and accessibly, and then also speaking with professional gravity. I like it, because when you nail it, it sounds so good. The other big one that I try to avoid a lot is video essayist YouTuber voice. But now it's time to talk about Aristotle. That YouTube video essayists love to front load their work with just random bullshit of being like, and now it's time to do this, which is like, that's a crutch. That's a rhetorical crutch. It's just scaffolding that you can cut. You're wasting word count in favor of actually composing ideas. A sucker for Jacob Geller voice. Okay, the thing with Jacob Geller is that he's, like, so good at making video essays that he can kind of bullshit them. Like, he can just kind of squeeze something out and it'll be better than most, you know, video essays about video games. But then I am being a hater here, but, like, I saw his video that was, like, Silksong and the Apocalypse, and I was like, these two things are barely related, man. Like, I see where you're going, but I am very familiar with both of these academic conversations, and, like, it's like, to a lesser audience, I'm sure that this seems like you're making more of a point than you actually are, but you're kind of just, like, putting facts side by side as if they are coherent, and they're kind of not. Yeah, I love useless chapter sections. That is a fun one. We need to have a conversation about your father's bones. Aristotle talks. Hi, Ariel. Different field of study, but speaking of Tumblr accent and publishing books about history, have you heard anything about Gretchen McCulloch? She's a linguist, not a historian, but has made very good stuff. I have not. I have not, like, seen much in the way of linguistics. I don't know. I don't hate Jacob Geller. I just, like, there's a lot of things that he says where I'm just like, you could stand to be a little more coherent with this. But it is the type of, like, mild intellectual dissatisfaction where it was like, if I met him, I would be, like, so starstruck. I'd be like, oh my gosh, I love your fucking work. Because I do. I love his work. But it's, as somebody who also spends their time, you know, writing essays for idiots on the internet, I have a certain degree of, like, I see flaws in his work that reflect on my own shortcomings, which I think is important to, like, notice when you're doing that and not be like, everyone is shit except for me. It's all shit. YouTube essays have been so lame. They're all so surface level. Like, hey, this is happening. Isn't it strange? I'm so picky about finding a new video essayist, or I'm like, you know, Ask for a good video essay. They say it's a good video essay. Haha, it's a good video essay. It's a Fuck! Shit! I'm fumbling it! Urgh! It's a good video essay, sir. Look inside. It's just a Wikipedia article. I said a Diogenes quote from Aristotle. Should I be killed? Yes. Joke fumbled! Joke fumbled! Kill them! Beautiful non-binary spotted. Hurt them with knives until they die. Not killed, only tortured? Okay. What are your thoughts on Daryl Talks Games? Well, now you're just making people up. That guy doesn't exist. Only ask my opinions about things that are real. Thank you. Please and thank you. What's your opinion on yummies? They're actually a little bit scrummy. I fucking love yummies. Yummies and treats. Very good. 10 out of 10 in my opinion. What's your opinion on poo? There's a new ContraPoints. I don't give a fuck about her Zionist ass. There's plenty of other T-girls that deserve your attention on YouTube. Damn, this loser-ass skeleton doesn't know about Daryl. Puts my hands up. I guess you're right. I don't know about Daryl. I think he's fake. I've seen no proof of Daryl. Do you play visual novels? I want... several of my friends are obsessed with Umineko. I want to play Umineko. I know it's like a million words, but like, so is Disco Elysium, so who cares? Grand Trivia Lizard. Now, I think you actually are making people up now. I did find a new guy that was called, like... It was, like, Botany is Terrible or something, where he just, like, reviews corporate architecture and landscaping. That dude rules. I like that guy. I recently found a dude that was, like a new linguist and linguistics YouTuber who has, like, just a little bit of a 4chan accent, but he's funny, and I like his energy, and he makes videos about languages that are fun and accessible to me, because I don't really know it. Like, I don't know fucking anything about Urdu. Crime pays, but botany doesn't. That's the man. I've turned off, like, watch-based recommendations. I hate that shit. Ugh. Daryl is not that great. I don't like him at all. Hey, have you seen Mr. Bibbles, the video essayist? He sucks, and I don't like him at all. Do not watch him. Hey, Gyre Prime. Very nice. I think I got this girl already. A really good channel on Arabic history called Al Muhammada. That sounds good. I'll check that out. Someone you watch that compares Pokemon to IRL botany concepts. That's cute. I do like it when people do stuff like that. It's not necessarily the type of thing that I would, like, watch unless there's, like... It would have to be, like, especially rigorous for me to really get into this stuff. But with stuff like that, there is a fine line between just kind of talking about botany in relation to, like, Pokemon or video games or something, and kind of doing a Neil deGrasse... Dude, you're being fucking Neil deGrasse Tyson about this. Stop fucking swearing. The psychology of video games? Yeah, that sounds annoying. I'm sorry. I think psychology is low-key kind of fake. Unless it's like game theory shit, but also it's just like whatever, I don't really care. There was a period of my life where I was like watching endless like game design, game dev theory videos, but like, I'm just kind of over that shit. Dude, you better sit down in front of our Lord and Neil deGrasse Tyson. Hello. Welcome to chat.
Inbox messages make me ill.
What have I been watching recently? I have been dipping into, like, ancient history stuff. That's been fun. I like hearing about, like, wooden artifacts that are literally 10,000 years old. I think that's dope. I've been getting a lot, like, ever since my move, I've been a lot more productive. Like, I've been getting nearly just yesterday, I got 3,000 words on my novel done. Is psychology being fake, like in a Scientology way? Well, it's just, like, new. It's just, like, really new. Have you heard of Overly Sarcastic Productions? Yeah, I like them. They haven't, like, posted in a while, have they? Six Stomach Murder? Yup, I think we're done with Act 2. All the pieces are in their places. What kind of YouTube channels would esoteric figures have? Fucking Blavatsky would have like a reaction content slop channel. OSP has been posting very regularly. Maybe it's a different one. Like, there was some YouTuber I followed that used to do like accessible analysis of fascism stuff, and they went dark for like 3 years and then like came back with a video about like burnout and shit. That was like, listen, I'm sure it was very heartfelt, but it was like a 45-minute video in that kind of, clearly from like a YouTuber that isn't used to posting like poetic or emotional works, and it was like speaking in a kind of poetic voice of like, it was speaking in like second person about like, this is what it's like to burn out. I'm like, listen, I feel for you. Like, I am constantly grappling with burnout. It's really tough, but like, I get it, man. I don't need to watch this for 45 minutes, thank you. I think it might have been Innuendo Studios, yeah. I have a little bit of a visceral reaction, and this is probably a flaw on my own part. I have a little bit of a visceral reaction to like people getting a little too open on the TL, where it does make me sad when there's like a creator that I really like, but they start just like putting too much of their personal shit on the TL in a way that it's like, okay, I've been thinking a lot recently about composition, right? As an internet creator, I consider myself to have a duty to your time and attention, right? I don't want to just come on here and ramble. I have a duty to say things that are like fun and entertaining and relatively structured for you. This is why before I do these Philosophy Friday streams, I tend to prepare, and if I don't, I say I don't. Like, hey, we're not doing so much philosophy on this one. You don't need to tune in, right? I feel a need to like structure my thoughts and not just kind of spill my life into you. Because if I started constantly bitching about like everything that was going on in my life, I feel like that would be like a little annoying for some people. I don't want to waste your time. You guys come here for specific things, and I want to make sure that I am making something for you. And making something that is worthy of your time and attention. Even if it's like just casually discussing things like this. And sometimes when creators like, I don't know, spill a little too much of their personal life on the TL, it reminds me of periods in my life where I had like a very unhealthy relationship to this job and was like getting my issues out through posting on Tumblr, which is like, you look back on it a couple years later, and it's like, this is deeply embarrassing. I should not. It's like, I should have been talking to friends. This is not for the, like, thousands of people that follow me. It's a little bit mortifying, even thinking about it now. And so I get a lot of, like, secondhand embarrassment when people do it. But at the same time, I have a lot of compassion for people that are, like, in that circumstance, because listen, internet content creators only do this when they're stressed. That's like that's like the poster version of ripping out your feathers like a stressed cockatoo. You only do shit like that when you don't have people in your life that you can talk to about shit, and the only people that you have are like on screens. It's not good. It speaks to a real rough patch in someone's life. Sisyphus55 has a video called How to Create When You Hate Yourself. Yeah, it's like... It's that exact kind of thing where it's like, I'm sure this is very heartfelt and sincere, and you're going through a rough time. This is, like... I've been thinking a lot about James Baldwin recently. There's that famous epithet about him that he is a man that sat over a typewriter and bled. And I think that's a little bit... I think it's like, the way people interpret that epithet is a little dismissive to what he was actually doing. Like, James Baldwin was not whining, right? He was not complaining. He was structuring his sorrow and grief into something. He was sharpening it. There is a, like, it's not raw emotion. It is composed. This is what I mean by composing something. He has taken these difficult, hard, overwhelming emotions. He has taken his blood and he has hammered it into a sculpture. He's turned it into something. It's not... It's... There is a degree of artifice that has gone through this. And when I see YouTubers being like, how to create when you hate yourself, it's a little eye-rolling. It also speaks to, like, a lack of It also speaks to, like, a lack of attention paid to your own artistic work. People think Baldwin was whining. I think people interpret him that way. Where it's like, people see, like, oh, Baldwin was a man that sat in front of a typewriter and bled. And they're like, oh, so what I should put into my work is, like, raw emotions. And I think that's a trap. I think that's, like... I think that's I think it's hack shit, frankly. Like, raw emotion does not make art. If people could make art by feeling something very hard, everyone would be a beautiful artist. And I think they are, but it's like, you know, I think art is kind of endemic to being alive. But at the same time, like, no one would ever accuse James Baldwin of being incoherent in his thought, in his clarity and coherence of art. Right now, I think a lot of the value of cryptotheism's work and community is looking at esotericism while not openly buying into it or mocking the quack aspect of it. Yeah, I work very hard to, like... I work very hard to be like... I think sneer history is like a deep and powerful poison, especially for, like, the pop history stuff. Because it's very easy to be like, look at this wizard. They're correct about everything, and you should believe in eugenics. Then the people see that, and they go to the other pole of, like, look at this wizard asshole. Nothing they say is true, and they were a fucking idiot. And none of their... It's like... None of their ideas existed in a material context. They were just crazy. And that's also bullshit. That's also complete bullshit. It's anti-intellectual. And I want to encourage people to look at history through that lens. And I think starting with the strangest, most weird, most unorthodox ideas is a good way to prepare people for the more quote-unquote normal ones. It's like, it's like, you shouldn't even assign correctness to it. Like, okay, were Blavatsky's racial theories correct or incorrect? It's like, it kind of doesn't matter, because the more important thing that you need to understand about Blavatsky's thought is, like, what was she doing? It's like, Why did she build these ideas? Why did she structure this ideology the way it does, and what was she trying to accomplish with that? Because once you understand that, you realize that her goals were very, very bad. They were awful and racist. Mostly. She has, like, there are some interesting things. There are some, like, she is a kind of the woke eugenicist in a way, where it's like, oh, she does believe in some, like, she does believe in some very, like, strangely woke ideas, but for very ideologically bad reasons. And that's interesting. That is the path to truly understanding a thinker, whether you agree with them or not. I think racism is bad. It is. But assigning correctness to individual ideas and not ideologies can be a trap. It can be a thought-terminating form of analysis. I don't think we mock stuff that isn't quack stuff. I do. I think we do. I think it's easy, and I think it's easy to let mockery stand in place of actual analysis. Tumblr queers that didn't understand sin leveling. Yeah, it's like, that's kind of what I mean. It's like, you gotta be kind to people when they clearly have something internalized that they're not quite getting over. It's like, you can tell them to fuck off, but it's like, hey, it's... ideologies are tricky. They stick in your brain. And the more intellectual you are, the harder it is for you... Like, the harder it is for you to unlearn certain blind spots. Blavatsky is incredible, but most of her theories are a massive nothing burger. Well, see, this is what I mean. This is what I mean. They're not a nothing burger. She's not, like, the theories do not exist to be taken seriously as actual theories. They exist to be taken seriously as a mythology. She's not trying to construct something instrumental and useful for understanding the history of races. She's trying to construct a mythology of whiteness. This is what I mean. Like, you have to understand the context that her ideas existed in and what the actual purpose of them is. She did have a fake Tibetan Muppet that ate cigars, and that was very funny. That is very true. And I think we should laud her for that. We should laud her for that. Master Kuthumi is one of the funniest things to ever happen in Western esotericism, and more people should know about that. Calling Kuthumi a Muppet is also quite funny. Because he was a little bit of a Muppet. He was an ambiguously East Asian Muppet. When Blavatsky returns, we should cancel her. I don't think you could. Like, she should be canceled, but it's like, people tried. It didn't really work. When people tried to cancel her, she left for India and then, like, founded a political party. It's quite impressive. It's quite fucking impressive. And perhaps a little bit epic. Do you think Sink Dog is a kind of mythology? Shut up! You're just saying shit. Shut up. I guess Blavatsky is just the historical precedent for that. Yeah, I guess. Like, she is an example of, like, how canceling kind of isn't real. When Blavatsky returns, she will be the first female American president. Low-key, she has the sauce. See, now you got me thinking about, like, what does President Blavatsky actually look like? Because she's clearly not, like... The idea of having an American theosophist god queen is really funny. She would build a ziggurat and shit. Oh man, she would like move the American capital to Mount Shasta. Blavatsky on short form video content would be a fucking menace. That's extremely true. I agree. Zionist and Hindu, but she would be the biggest fucking Zionist ever. She would either be a Zionist or she would be like the worst kind of anti-Zionist. She would be like an anti-Zionist for like fascist reasons. Why? Blavatsky was an arch nationalist. She believed like it doesn't matter who was having a like an ethnic separatist movement. She would fight for you, right? It's like if you were trying to make your own ethnic microstate, Blavatsky fucking loved you. Didn't matter who. Yeah, wanted everyone to have their own little corral. That's how a lot of nationalism works nowadays. Yeah, no, very much so. She is kind of like if Orientalism had a Judge Holden. It's like, oh, what if Orientalism was a white woman? She would be going to bat for Quebecois separatism. Like, absolutely. Do you think President Blavatsky would be like, no, I'm thinking about this. Hang on. Arch nationalist, keep in mind she was also like an apelid with no nation. She was a Russian woman who spent her whole life traveling around. She just loves ethnic separatism as a concept. Yeah. Although she definitely played up the whole like wise woman from the mysterious Orient like reputation. Like you do have to remember that like the Balkans, like she was from Georgia, and like that corner of like the Balkans and the Caucasus were kind of lumped into the Orient. Would she legalize meth? I don't know if she was an uppers girly. She loved weed and she loved tobacco. I don't know if she was super into meth. What does the occultist power scaling look like? I don't know. I feel like it's hard to have power scaling conversations without immediately breaking out into like I'll think of like a fun observation and then people will start like picking it apart in really annoying and pedantic ways, and I'm just like, I don't want to be in this conversation anymore. Was Blavatsky remarkably anti-Semitic? She was like in the lab. She was like checking out the ancient scrolls of racism and coming up with new forms of anti-Semitism. Plato wins because he is big and strong. That's true. No, she was like a leading figure in anti-Semitism research, in producing new novel breeds. The Hellebore Zine writers made a top Trumps deck for British occultists that literally just has power scaling for various stats. That's cute. A real innovator. Negative. Yeah, very much so. How often does racism or ethnic thinking from that era stem more from money than from personal belief? Well, okay, here's the thing about racism. There's always a material, like... There's always some sort of material benefit behind it, or if not material benefit, the promise of material benefit. Like, it exists within its material context, obviously. So the interesting thing about Blavatsky is that she's kind of like a middle of the road figure between like like straight up fascism and the sort of 18th or 19th century nationalist racism. She's kind of a bridge between the two. Because okay, people talk about Blavatsky as if she's like the grandmother of fascism, and that's not true. I don't think that's fair to call her a fascist. I think if fascism existed when Blavatsky was alive, she would have been a fascist. But to call her a fascist is to kind of misplace her it's to misplace the purpose she served in the historical record. She was a diehard adherent, a diehard cheerleader for the exact system of like monarchical monarchical colonial aristocracies that immediately collapsed and became fascism. Like she was very against the proto-fascists of the day because fascism for the time was futurist, right? It was modern. It was like we must redesign society for this new modern age, and to combat it, we must make a new man. And that's very like Blavatsky's very anti that. She was a hardcore traditionalist. Everything about her ideology was like we must return to the sources, and fascism wasn't quite doing that yet. But she loved European aristocracies. Yeah, one of the most product of her time people ever, but also interesting because she is kind of the mother of a new time. Like, from her, the new world was struggling to be born. Setting a foundation for / feeding something she didn't see coming. I don't know. That's a good question. Like, did Blavatsky, like, how much of the coming shadow of fascism did Blavatsky perceive? That's a very interesting question, actually. That's a very interesting question. Because, like, obviously fascism didn't exist when she was around. Thinking of what you said about her being a mythographer for white people, and her thing is that she's the first return to the past that ever existed type deal. Well, not really. Okay, traditionalists existed well before her, but she was doing that in the context of, like, the other big thing that Blavatsky was reacting to was Charles Darwin, right? Evolution. And a lot of people say that she was, like, arguing that, like, Darwin is, like, wrong, but she's not. She's arguing that Darwin proves that racism is correct. Like, that's... She argues that... Did she influence the Black Sun guys? Oh, yes. Oh, yes. All those esoteric... Like, this is why people call her, like, the grandmother of fascism, is because, like... a lot of, like, one of the esoteric groups in Germany that would become, like, the esoteric wing of the Nazi Party fucking loved Blavatsky. But it wasn't, like, they didn't love Blavatsky specifically. They loved, it was like there was a generation of Blavatsky's students and then another generation of Blavatsky's students, and each one who was making her shit more racist somehow. And then you had these, like, fascist esotericists. But actually the Black Sun guys were, like, kind of post-war. Like, Savitri Devi was, like, low-key a post-war figure. The guys that were, like, actually in the Nazi Party, they were like Ariosophists. That was Guido von List and whatnot, and the Thule Society. And it took a generation of people making Blavatsky's writing even more racist for the Ariosophists to really, like, come into their own. She seems to really like... She seems to really like taking what people say, half agreeing, and then taking it in a contrarian direction. Kind of. What Blavatsky did was like, if someone disagreed with her, she would be like, actually, you secretly agree with me, and you have the whole time, but you just don't understand it yet. And if you give me $20, I will reveal the secrets of why you actually agree with me this whole time. I call it the Blavatsky special. And it was kind of the key to her popularity. It's hard for me to understand when an individual is responsible or when their environment was going one way and there was just a vocal figure. I mean, here's the thing about Blavatsky. She was, like, actively responsible for a lot of things. Partially because one of her main skills was, like, collating, syncretizing, and then propagating information. Like, we have, like, German racists that were like, I fucking love this book and I'm racist because of this book. Like, that happened a lot. Like, normally that sort of thing is a lot more difficult to track, but it's like, it's not subtle for Blavatsky. She was just out there doing that shit. She was a very effective speaker, like, stunningly effective. Fuck, I should lie to idiots for $20. Speaking of, this is the main way that I get a lot of my money. If you want to throw me a sub or subscribe to my Patreon, I will be very happy for it.
Open the relic. Finish your mission and we'll take a look inside.
Ugh. Oh my gosh, it's getting fucking hot here. I might have to end stream a little early because once it gets too hot, my POTS takes over and my energy levels just fucking tank. How long have we been live? I can't fucking see. We've been talking a lot. Hour 20? Okay. Yeah, okay. We can keep going for a little bit. I am not a basking animal, Chimera. Like, if I spend a moment in the sun, all of my blood vessels, like, start screaming and crying in pain and stop working. And my blood pressure fucking drops and I get exhausted and sweaty. Yeah, I literally, like, I get dizzy, like, over the past couple days. Okay, there's also been, like, a horrible heat wave. But over the past couple days, I've been, like, my vision goes, like, blurry just, like, standing up from my bed. Don't put me in the microwave. What the fuck? That would make it worse. The POTS is rough. Okay, chat, I need to find, like, high protein, high acid dishes. Like, I need, like, a lemon chicken recipe or something. I need, like, a lemon chicken breast recipe that I can just fucking chug. CT is a frail Victorian child. I am! I should be sitting on a big fluffy couch and asking Mama why it's so cold. Lemon, yogurt, and chicken, no? Yeah, something along those lines. Lemon, chicken. That's right. You know what I'm talking about. CT can avoid the microwave waves like an ant. Yeah, I'm so sickly, I flop over them. My pallid, corpse-like flesh sloughs under the beams like somebody pressing down on a waterbed. Maybe ceviche would also be the move. It's getting to be ceviche season. And I've always wanted to learn how to cook ceviche, but it's like, cooking seafood makes me nervous. But it might be the season. It's also fucking, what's it fucking called? It's gazpacho season. Nice, refreshing glass of gazpacho. We need to develop more cold soups. The thing about ceviche is that you don't cook it. Well, no, you do cook it, but with, it's chemically cooked with acid. There are forms of, like, raw seafood that's just seasoned like that. You don't like cold food. You might like cold food better if you're in this part of LA in this heat. Because, oh man, these fucking... It's brutal. My electrolytes come and go like the wind. It is not ceviche season here. It snowed like 2 feet last night. It is currently 95 degrees outside of my house. You're going to have to learn a culinary art only to keep up in the conversation. You should. Fucking, you got to eat 3 times a day anyway. Might as well make it good. Oh my gosh. Gyre, Alternox. Was that you, or did Candy stealth join? I don't know. I don't think so. Nope, just me and the call. 95 is awful. 95 is awful. Luckily, it's going to break tonight, but you tried salt pills? Yeah, I really just get by adding more salt to my meals, and I have these like electrolyte packets that I just like put into water and chug, because I lose water really fast anyway, so that's what I gotta do. I also make a lot of like homemade electrolyte drinks, you know, it's like a lot of like homemade lemonade and stuff. It was fun when Holly showed up that one time. Holly showed up several times. No, Holly likes to show up unannounced. Sometimes I will invite my friends. But Holly comes and goes in humorous manner. There's also the fun bit where our good friend of the stream, Riley, will just join and say penis and then leave the call. Have you ever tried Solimak? I have not. What is Solimak? Holly is really everyone's friend. Okay, the other day she sent me a screen cap from the like a Mario frame every day blog, and it was just like of a goose soy facing looking at an egg, and she said, "This reminds me of you for some reason." And I can't for the life of me figure out why. Penis. Solimak is a licorice candy with solomoniac. That sounds like it would either be yummy or it would be the bitter piss yuck candy. So here's the thing about Holly is that she can stand on a corner so it looks like she's floating, but she's standing on the edge, but actually she looks like she's floating, but even though she's just standing on the edge. So what you're saying is we should look forward to your appearance in HRALVI 2? Okay, if Meat Planet is going to appear in an HRALVI type thing, it's going to be us arguing for 3 seconds and then getting hit by a car or something. Like it would be like a tiny cameo that you can't tell is us. The only sense that you would get is you would just hear like Candy and I screaming and yelling, and then fucking you'd hear like a James squeak, and then it would be over, and we would never ever speak again. Putting a bunch of esoteric stuff into VRI would rock, like Balloon SMP. Candy is so good at screaming. Candy is incredibly good at screaming. It's shocking how good Candy is at screaming. You and James as the elevator clowns in episode 2. Exactly, exactly. No, a single perfect Jamie noise. Exactly. No, but I think between, like... I don't know. Meat Planet cameo would be so cute. Yeah, it would have to be us, like, arguing and getting killed and then never speaking again. That feels most appropriate for Meat Planet. It is funny, like, we get... every once in a while, you'll see, like, a radio TV compilation that'll have, like, a Jame clip in it. They're like, we're not in that. we're different, actually. We are, we have our TVS at home. I have to get this thought out of my head or I'll explode. I've enjoyed being in the Discord while people are around to explore esoteric stuff without any lamp shading. Yeah, there's a lot of just like very talented and intelligent people in our Discord. It's very nice. I am proud of you guys.
Another job well executed.
Oh my god, it's getting so fucking hot.
Seconds of life support remaining.
All right, pants are coming off. Hasn't Candy made mods for RTVS? No. You might be thinking of Shelly. But there's a lot of people that do, there's a lot of people that do mods for RTVS. Like, a lot of... Honestly, a lot of RTVS members are just, like, really talented modders. I am so fucking impressed with the fact that they even got Half-Life 2 to like work like that. What a fucking incredible achievement. Me Planet is like the monsters of RTVS. That's really cute. I'm gonna tell that to the group chat. They'll get a kick out of that. What shall we do now? Oh my god. I'm gonna hold on as long as I can, chat, but I am rapidly losing energy. Genuinely forgot that they were in Gary's mod during the HL2 stream. It's crazy. They have like multiple like Twilight PB type people in RTVS. Oh wait, Barrow is here. Is Barrow here? Let's go say hi to Barrow. Oh my god. I made a fucking I made my first electrolysis appointment. Very excited for that. I thought it was yesterday, and then I drove out to the place in fucking Beverly Hills, and turns out that it's actually next week. So that was a little embarrassing, but the lady was very nice. The way I found this electrolysis place was like, I Googled like best electrolysis Los Angeles Reddit, and the first subreddit that came up was called r/hotgirlsla, and they with like a bunch of good recommendations in my area. And I was like, okay, I trust this. I completely trust this. It's been a dream of mine forever. I've been saving up for a while. Yeah, Hot Girls LA would never steer me wrong. Exactly. And it's like, I looked up a picture of my doctor, like, fucking, the exact sort of woman that I would trust to give someone electrolysis. Like older Turkish woman with gorgeous hair, a little bit of work done. Like, yeah, that's a bitch I trust with an electrolysis machine. I think I'm in good hands. You looked up a picture of your fucking doctor? It's on her fucking website, Mr. Horizons. I didn't, like, Google search it.
I have much to show you.
Might be a skin tone thing, but I hear laser is a lot better cost-benefit ratio. Okay, no, it's actually not. I was talking to my fucking... my friend that's an esthetician about it. So the reason that laser is cheaper is because it's not regulated by the FDA, and it's often not permanent, right? It's like, yeah, it's cheaper, but you have to do it like forever. Whereas electrolysis, it's like, yeah, you have to do it like 7 to 10 times, but once you get enough sessions in, it's literally permanent. Yeah, it's considered permanent hair reduction by the FDA, but not removal. Whereas electrolysis is permanent removal, and that's what I want. I'm a person with dark skin, and my special interest is lasers, and hoo boy, I got thoughts. Well, see, this is part of why I've been wanting to get electrolysis forever, is that my gorgeous, luscious Eastern European hair grows in like the fucking pine trees of the Hungarian plains, and I can't fucking shave without getting the worst, nastiest, sharpest fucking ingrowns in the known universe. I fucking hate it. It's always itchy and uncomfortable, even shaving normally, and I look terrible with like I look fucking terrible with facial hair. Although, okay, what pisses me off about being trans femme is that like I've always looked terrible with facial hair, right? But there is a period of like 24 to 48 hours where I look like my 5 o'clock shadow looks fucking amazing. Like it's so sexy. But it's like I look at it and I'm like, fuck, I'm not mask. I can't do it. It's like, and it looks like, because like the moment it ticks into that 25th hour, just looks terrible and patchy. I have no idea how, like, why this happens. It's like for a glorious 8 hours, I look like fucking like 2008 Orlando Bloom in Pirates. But then, you know, it takes over like 15 minutes later, and I look like I work at a video rental store. Yeah, it's like, it literally is like the spell wears off. It's awful. Let's see. Do I got one more in me? Do an exterminate. I think that's fine. No, I'm very excited. This move has been good. I've been like getting to do all the things that I've always wanted to do while I was living with my parents. The line between gorgeously subtle and resells Yu-Gi-Oh cards at conventions is rather thin on that mode of gender expression. Honestly, a lot of things are like that. A lot of things are like a lot of very erotic, very sexual, very beautiful attributes that a person can have are like barely an inch away from something like stupid looking. Like people that dress nice are like one accessory away from dressing like a clown. Does that make sense? You need to moisturize for the ingrowns. I fucking do, Ariel. I know. Listen. Ariel, I'm going to ask you a question, okay? I'm going to ask you a question. What color is your hair? Please, just black? Okay. If you were blonde, I was about to go fucking off on you. Black eyes, too. You do not have black eyes. Shut up. I know I have to moisturize. I know I have to moisturize for the ingrowns. I moisturize every day. I use a cleanser. I use, I do sunscreen. I take very good care of my skin. I fucking know. I am drinking water. I know. I've done every fucking trick in the book. I've purchased the semi-legal like Korean skincare products. It doesn't work. It just doesn't work, okay? I know. I have very thick and very like wavy, like curly Eastern European hair. And my hair is so fucking thick. It's just bad. I haven't been able to find a good response for it. It's why I want electrolysis. I just want this shit to never ever grow again. It's also like the okay, it's like the one thing I actually get dysphoria about is body hair. It's like it's by far the biggest thing, the biggest source of dysphoria for me. Well, okay, we as the chat exceptionally grant you permission to get hair removal done. Thank you, chat. I was waiting on your approval, and I really appreciate that. Here, we'll do some capture missions. Yeah, I can't say anything. I am pasty and blonde. I am also pasty. I just have dark hair. As a Greek woman. Yeah, no, I'm sure you get it, May. Like, your hair is, like, extremely curly.
Watch out. I'm detecting
What
great
frame is that?
Do you have a matching relic?
I can't tell. Okay, whatever.
You're efficient.
Yay! Yay!
Keep moving. None of this
We talking about this in the Discord the other day. What, like hair care?
collect reactant to open
Fucking hell. Okay, come on.
Be aware. Only corrupted enemies will drop.
Hmm.
Target located. Bring them in. Stay focused. There's a heavy
I don't know. I have very nice hair. Those of you who have seen my hair can confirm that it's quite nice, but I fucking hate dealing with my facial hair. It's super annoying.
We need our subject brought back alive. Success. The captive is safely in our
Also, never take hair care advice from a blonde bitch. They have no idea how nice they have it. They're extremely privileged. They don't deserve any of your time or attention, and they're barely people, honestly.
the relic. Finish your mission and we'll take a look inside.
Blonde bitches telling you, be like, oh, it's so easy. It's so easy to shave. You just kind of like use a razor in the shower, and then like just kind of pat dry with a towel, and don't even worry about ingrowns. Like. I can't believe you'd say this about Jame. Jame is the perfect example. Like, blonde men are basically women.
You have broken their ranks and they are on the run. Another successful mission. Find extraction.
Can I quote you on that? Glad my skin isn't so sensitive for epiletting cream. Hmm. Oh! I do need this. That's delightful. I will take that. I don't even know what these do.
Mission complete. Excellent work, Tenno.
Stubble texture also sucks even without ingrowns. Yeah, that I also fucking hate how my stubble feels. That sucks. You got advice on information retention? I always mix up shit. I'm not a good person to ask about this, honestly. Like, honestly, what helps me is it's like I always try to assemble things as like a story in my head. Like, where does the story begin? Where does it end? And then like doing parallel things over it. Like I've initially I learned a lot about fucking biblical history. Like I learned a lot about like the Bar Kokhba revolt, or not the Bar Kokhba revolt, the fucking like the Maccabees and everything, like the fall of the Second Temple. And because of that, like I wanted to start learning about like the early Roman period, which is basically it's like a very similar period. And so like when I already had like a basis for it, I was able to be like, oh, this is happening. It's like this event is happening at the same time. Ugh. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, it is turning into a sauna here. I think I will catch you next week, hopefully when it's a little cooler, because this is getting pretty brutal. But in the meantime, thank you for coming. Always enjoy seeing you all. Always enjoy talking. Next week we might fucking, I don't know, fucking talk about Plotinus. I don't know, who cares? Bye!